Most of us seem to think our responsibility ends at the ballot box. Far from it. As citizens, you have an obligation to engage fully in national development issues. Your actions matter and must be influenced by informed decisions. Quality information is needed to make the decisions that will ensure St. Lucia's natural resources are used wisely and sustainably for generations to come.
Without information, people are likely to make the wrong decisions, and people are not likely to know what is happening around them and how they could protect themselves. Our Constitution guarantees the right to life, and that right cannot be guaranteed in an environment that does not support life.
This is where the Escazu Agreement comes in. It helps you to get the information you need to make decisions that will sustain livelihoods and protect the environment. It essentially argues for the right to information.
Information that is important, that will impact the environment as well as the health of the citizenry, of the people, ought to be given to the people, that there should be timely dissemination of that information to the public, so that it should not be held by those public authorities and not shared, that those public authorities ought to disseminate that information to the public in a timely manner so that they can mitigate or even adapt to environmental harm where it does occur.
When you are faced with a situation that has potential impact on your health or on your activities, Escazu says that you have a right to information that will help you make informed decisions about those impacts, what you could do to protect yourself or what you could do to mitigate the problem.
The whole concept of access rights began way back in 1992 when 178 countries met in the city of Brazil, in Rio, for what was known as a Rio Conference on Sustainable Development.
That Rio Summit in 1992, almost 3 decades ago, detailed 25 principles or policy positions contained within the Rio Declaration on Environment and Development. Principle 10 relates to access rights to environmental information. Out of Principle 10 came the Escazu Agreement, named after the town in Costa Rica where the agreement was finalized.
It is an agreement for the people, by the people. As cliched as it sounds, that is exactly what Escazu is.
And it seeks to do 3 things: to ensure public access to environmental information, to ensure or promote public participation in decision-making on matters relating to the environment, and also the right to seek justice.
So St. Lucia signed on to the Escazu Agreement September 2018. It was ratified by government on the 1st of December 2020. And on Earth Day, April 22nd, 2021, the Escazu Agreement took effect in St. Lucia.
So we are quite happy that the agreement has been ratified by the Latin America and the Caribbean region. We are extremely happy that the St. Lucia government has signed on. And we are now encouraging the creation of the policy, regulatory and infrastructure frameworks that will give effect to those provisions.
When you're trying to get information on certain developments or certain projects, it was really difficult to do so. When you try to participate in the decision making, you would not know when there would be a session because there's not ample notice given. And so it was important to the trust from that perspective, because what we realize is when you involve the people, you have less conflicts.
So what is the real purpose of the Escazu Agreement? And why should the public be concerned with it? What can Escazu do for you? And how can it be helpful to persons who are passionate about protecting the environment?
Environmental matters, because they are cross-cutting in nature, they should not be handled by governments alone, but rather they should involve all stakeholders.
So we simply just wanted a seat at the table to say, okay, this is the information we have. How can we work together? Yes, jobs are important, but so too is the environment. So how could we work together in a sustainable way? And that's why it was really important from the trust perspective to advocate for St. Lucia to sign and ratify the agreement.
The Escazu Agreement promotes peaceful resolution of issues, and that can only be achieved through articulate engagement and an easy access to information. There has to be a willingness to be transparent and accommodating.
In St. Lucia, the ability to access certain information is very limited. I know personally from certain internships and just activities that I've done, ways that I've tried to find information for my students, it's very difficult. Sometimes you have to go through certain persons, certain departments in order to access the information, and it is just kind of like a lot of little hoops you have to jump through, a lot of different people. They keep telling you, you know, this is not the person, you have to speak to that other person, and you just kind of go back and forth and around in circles for a long time looking for information.
There are barriers, many barriers, and some of the times you're wondering, why is there a barrier when you simply would like information so that you can, you know, say or find out how this project is going to affect you. So it's basically trying to remove the barriers to access information. If you're having a meeting, you cannot have it in English predominantly, so to speak, if the community you're going to is Creole speaking. So all of these things is what Escazu looks at. Are you communicating to the people in a way that they understand? Have you broken down the technical terms? So this is basically what it is, providing the mechanism to allow persons to participate in a manner that makes sense to them.
Kevin Jabatis, Public Relations Officer for the National Council of and for Persons with Disabilities. Making information available to the hearing and visual impaired, for example, would require the use of proper audio, closed captions, and where possible, sign language. If a consultation is required, it would mean that the location where the meeting is held is accessible to persons with physical disability, or alternative agreements should be made so that the voices of those persons can be heard. We, the members of the NCPD, we look forward in having discussions on environmental matters.
The most important part of the Escazu Agreement is implementation. The agreement will mean nothing if it remains on the shelves gathering dust. This calls for government to ensure that the Escazu Agreement has legal status and is the law of the land.
There needs to be legal provisions that if information is requested and not provided, that the person requesting the information has recourse.
So we now have to put structures in place to ensure that there is broad legal standing so that persons who, especially environmental defenders, persons who defend and who are advocates for the environment, can come before the court and say, listen, this project is creating a nuisance, it is causing environmental harm, not only to the citizenry, but to the environment. What can we do about it before it gets too late? And if perchance, and we hope that that doesn't happen, environmental harm has occurred, how we can redress that.
The Escazu Agreement gives every St. Lucian the right to request information on environmental matters to influence decisions impacting the environment and ensures that there are avenues for redress.
How do you ask for information? Who is supposed to give you the information? What time frame within which they give they are supposed to give you the information? And if they decide to withhold the information, what is the test? There must be a public interest test, and they must give reasons as to why they are withholding the information or why they are taking so long to provide the information. The same thing for public participation. If the public is not invited to a meeting, why? You understand? But that they should be at all levels of the meeting. They should be able to go to a project developer and say, listen, can I have a look at your impact assessment?
The Escazu Agreement should also be of value to researchers, especially students with assignments based on the environment.
So thinking about the student perspective, it would be very difficult for them to access a lot of information on their own, but if that information is made publicly available, then it is going to be so much better, so much more significant for them and easier for them to be able to get the information that they need, especially when they want to do projects based on a local context.
It is an agreement that is for them, that will protect them, that will give them access rights to important information that will tell them whether what a company is doing, whether it is hazardous to their health, whether it is hazardous to the environment, what they can do about it, what justice they can do in case that they are wronged, and how they can participate in the decisions that affect them.
When you are faced with a situation that has potential impact on your health or on your activities, Escazu says that you have a right to information that will help you make informed decisions about those impacts.
Escazu is an agreement that promotes access rights, access to information, public participation, and access to justice.
We need consultation, we need involvement, we need people to come on board, engage with us. We're asking people to download a copy of the Escazu Agreement, read it.
If the public is unaware of their rights and do not seek information to make informed decisions, what's the point of it all? You know, the ultimate beneficiary is the public.
If there is something that you do not understand, engage us. You understand? Come to the department. The legal office is always open to be able to answer questions.
I'd like to encourage all youth groups, the NYC, student councils, any guilds of students, just all youth groups, all persons involved in youth and sports clubs, especially in leadership positions in these groups. I'd encourage you to get interested in the Escazu Agreement. It is going to be so beneficial for not only you, but for your members, for just all the members of these groups.
So please join us. Become part of this agreement. It's an agreement which was forged by us, for our people, the first in the world that has provisions for the protection of environmental defenders. There's no other agreement, not even the House Agreement, which is for the European countries, which is similar to the Escazu Agreement for the European countries, that has environmental defenders. This is the first of this kind that has environmental defenders. So it is yours. It's not anybody that came and did it for us. It is ours. So let us make it work. This is what I would like to see.
Every one of us can be an agent for change. Now we have an opportunity through the Escazu Agreement to participate fully in discussions on matters and developments impacting the environment. Download the Escazu Agreement and be informed. Become an influence for positive change.